Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are covering Blink-182 One More Time Part 2, and this is the deluxe version that came out last week. The first version came out in October, and then a week after that they released two bonus tracks. So I did not cover those in my review that came out a few months ago. So we're going to cover those two bonus tracks, and they also released with this new version 8 new songs. So that's a lot to cover. So we're going to cover all of that. The first song from those first two that came out back in last fall, Cut Me Off, is probably going to end up being one of my favorite Tom heavy songs in a long time. In my opinion, a lot of these songs are kind of hitting the highs of dogs eating dogs, and in my opinion, I am kind of a Matt Skiba apologist, but I really like California Deluxe, and Nine. So I feel like those are good albums as well. And I feel like a ton of these songs could have been on those albums too. And a kind of continuation a little bit of the sound from Dogs Eating Dogs, which is a great EP, by the way. So Cut Me Off is very Tom heavy. It has Mark choruses, and by the way, the chorus is very good on this song, and it's definitely shared with Tom, and Tom crushes the verses in the song. And I saw people complaining a little bit about the mix of One More Time Part 1, but you can immediately tell that you can immediately tell, like, I don't see any problems with how Cut Me Off and See You sound, in my opinion. And I'll go ahead and say for the rest of this deluxe Part 2 edition deluxe thing, that all the songs on here really do just sound great. Like, you can hear all the different instruments, all the different whichever electronic effects they use. Everything sticks out where it should. So continuing with Cut Me Off, I very much like this lyric, "Call me overrated, I should be sedated," lyric with Mark, and it's a callback to, of course, the Ramones' Sedated, I Want to Be Sedated song, and it's a callback to the previous song in the album Dance With Me, which is also a Ramones tribute song, basically, a homage to the Ramones. And yeah, that lyric sticks out, and the rest of the lyrics in the song and See You are extremely strong. So I kind of get why they were tagged on to One More Time Part 1, or just One More Time, because Cut Me Off and See You are definitely both strong outings for the band. So obviously Cut Me Off is going to end up in my top 10, or I should say top 5 for this, for sure. See You has a very huge sound, huge guitars, drums, and bass, and it is led by Tom and Mark. So they kind of switch roles. Mark does the verses, and Tom does the chorus in this song. And it's obvious, but Blink-182 is masters at kind of switching vocal duties, and this is exemplified in this song. And the echoey Mark vocals also add a lot to the vibe the song is going for. And these are probably the best Tom vocals since Dogs Eating Dogs again. And I guess it's not really saying much, since Dogs Eating Dogs was the last Tom outing before One More Time. But to me, Dogs Eating Dogs is a high bar. So reaching that height is very good for these guys, especially with Tom coming back. And Mark in the post-chorus is delivered with weight and emotion. So all around, Cut Me Off and See You are immediately like all-star MVP players for the album. So I just wanted to include those because I felt like I probably missed those songs. If I didn't, then that's hilarious that I reviewed them again, but that's fine. They're worth talking about again. They're both very good songs. So skipping Childhood, because we covered that. The first new track, No Fun. Immediately reminds me of Enema of the State, kind of Blink-182 lyrics, kind of jokey, funny, and also the instruments as well, with the main riff, very Enema of the State, very take off your pants and jacket immediately. Beginning kind of reminds me of the Pretty Little Girl song from Dogs Eating Dogs with the organ and the slow drums blasting into the regular part of the song. Very much like Pretty Little Girl, which is a great song, by the way. And I'm not sure about the Yellow Wolf feature for that, but it doesn't take away from the song, so I still like that song. And yeah, this song has all Tom. It's just all Tom singing. So No Fun can show that Tom can carry a song by himself easily, which is great. All in My Head has a cool little spoken word intro by Mark, kind of almost like how Dance With Me had a little tiny itty bitty spoken word part. And he says something like, Mark says something like, I'm a tiny speck of nothing in a world of, I don't know, like a huge world. I think that's basically what that said. I'm gonna have to look at what that said, but that's the idea of it. Lyrics are very funny, once again, Enema of the State kind of vibes, and the chorus is instantly catchy, mind word material. And Mark and Tom share singing duties in this song, and the song is very headbang inducing. And there's a little bit of Angels and Airwaves sounding bridge with Tom on this song, with kind of a lower vocals singing Tom, and the instruments sound very good on the song. So this immediately ends up in my top 5. It's hard. It's really hard for me because I'm a huge Blink-182 fan to have a top 5 out of a top 10, but I'm going to try by the end of this video. I'm going to try. Okay. Can't Go Back is the song that they played live during the tour, and I did see them in the tour. It was great. I think my only complaint when I saw them on tour, I do think they need to start changing their set list up a little bit. They did sort of by adding Easy Target and Carousel and M&M's and one other song, Obvious, and I think 2 other songs, kind of switching those back and forth. And that's cool, but I think they either need to increase their set list time or switch out some of the songs that they've played forever for different ones. But that's besides the point. It was a great concert, and they played hits, which everybody liked. So anyway, I heard Can't Go Back live. It was pretty good. It definitely was a slower song, so you could tell they're kind of trying to be more like emotional and pondering on this song, if you will. And for me, the studio recording definitely recalls back to Untitled, however you call it, Untitled Smiley Face album days. The riff very much sounds like a riff that would have been on that album. So it sounded a little bit different from the live, but looking back, I'd say the live version matches up pretty well with the studio version. I guess you just don't really know until you hear the studio version, right? But yeah, the lyrics and the musical choices just all point towards Untitled kind of sounds. And it's still, again, very recognizable sounds, cool riffs, and a solid beat from Travis as well. I heard this is like a drum loop created by Travis, so that's pretty cool. He was pushing himself on these extra tracks, you can tell. And of course, being the producer of this as well, pushing himself. So he made some very creative choices, and I respect him for that. I think they turned it out pretty good. Not spoil my review, but pretty good. Every Other Weekend is a homage to The Cure's song Friday I'm in Love, which is a song I love, and especially with the lyrics and also with some of the riffs that happen during the song. And there's a very strong chorus with Tom on this one. Insane drumming from Travis as usual. and very cool fills. And yeah, the Friday I'm in Love riff is in the bridge, just sounds great. So this song kind of harkens back to the Fell in Love song earlier in the album. So that's two songs kind of nodding to The Cure as a huge influence. So that's awesome, because they had Robert, I believe it's Robert Smith from The Cure, on all of this, the song on Untitled, which is a good song. But yeah, they basically had their hero on their album, and it's cool that they're giving more nods of appreciation and influence to The Cure. So all in all, a great song. Everyone Everywhere immediately reminded me of Violence, where there is like a heavy Blink punk sound reminiscent of like Untitled and Boxcar Racer, but it has this cool kind of spaced out moment where Mark sings the verses very in like an echoey kind of hall kind of sound, kind of like when Tom did his verses for the beginning of Violence. So it has a very experimental kind of sound, and definitely the most experimental sound on the album. So immediately that makes me like the song. So they still remain the same band, but same sound, punk rock and stuff. But it's just a cool change up. The next song, If You Never Left, is your quintessential Blink-182 love song. And I'll go ahead and say I love Blink love songs. I think they crush it. That's their strength as a band, besides like brotherhood, songs about brotherhood, like Anthem Part 3. And actually a ton of these songs have a lot to do with brotherhood, which is cool. So If You Never Left immediately to me sounds like a song that could have ended up on Nine or California. And there's very cool riffs throughout the song, and Mark and Tom also sound terrific on the song. And Travis, of course, goes unsaid. Amazing. Next song, One Night Stand, has very much feeling this kind of effect on the drums, where it's kind of syncopated and has it kind of an effect on it, warped, and then it builds in from the beginning into the song. Always love it when they do that. And again, this very much reminds me of Matt Skiba Blink-182 songs, which is good to me. And there's a cool lead up to the chorus, kind of like a build up to the drop, if you will. And there's callback lyrics to Fell in Love in this song, and cool interlaying of singing. I always like it when Blink-182 does that with the where Tom or Matt, in the past anyway, and Mark sing over each other, but they're saying different things, and it's just overlaid so perfectly. Kind of like at the end of Feeling This. And yeah, the song nails that. Next song after that, Take Me In, has really, really solid singing from Tom and Mark. And specifically, I would say Tom on this one gets the highlight for this particular song. And yeah, insane chorus with singing and cool drums and guitars. And this is probably my favorite song or second favorite song. I'll figure that out in a second. And I very much like the way they sing the verses differently with the wah-ohs. Kind of like the ooh, kind of at the end of when they say a word. And I saw some people complaining about this song, saying it was over dramatic or something. It's like, in my opinion, Blink-182 has always been over dramatic in a ton of their songs. They're essentially a pop punk boy band, so I really don't see where, like, I guess they're saying the lyrics are cheesy, but, and I did see some different credits for some of these songs where they had people that were in the studio that helped write, or maybe they had a phrase they added, were given credit. So I do have to take that into consideration, but I think most of this was really just Tom, Mark, and Travis. With all that said, I think Take Me is solid. I don't think it's cheesy. I think it sounds great. But maybe I'm cheesy. I don't know. Who cares? So looking at this deluxe version, this is the hard part. What are my top 5 of these 10 songs, including See You and Cut Me Off? I think for sure All in My Head is going to end up in that top 5. Take Me In, absolutely. That's 2. See You, number 3. Everyone Everywhere, number 4. And If You Never Left, number 5. I think that'll be my top 5. But I mean, that's literally impossible for me to decide, so I just basically picked the ones I could feel most comfortable with being in my top 5, but all of the songs are good. So in saying that, I am going to give this one more time, Blink-182 Deluxe, Super Deluxe, whatever edition, a 10 out of 10, because there are no skips. That is my main criteria for a 10 out of 10. And the Blink guys crushed it. Let me know what you guys think of this part 2, and I will see you all later.